start with the first part of the GG performance, okay, because I've been asked a lot of times on this topic. So I just thought, I'll share some of the few points and steps here. So I hope I'm audible, right?
Yes, you are.
Yeah. In case of any doubt and all, please, stop me and you can ask. I'll try to solve this, or else we'll take in the next class also. Okay, so before that, I like to thank Scholar IT. Actually, it's a group of very good professionals with good, technical and domain experts. So I got a chance to work with this awesome team. So okay, so let's start here now. All right. So what is lag actually? Now in GG, we always face a state where we have lag and all, right? And I've seen in the interviews and all, many people, they just say, all right, if you have a lag, how can we solve it? And they straight away say, don't tell that, integrated is good or parallel or replicate is good and all. So they want to understand how do you think to solve it. So my aim here would be to generate a logic of how we can approach it, right? So before that, what is a lag? Okay, so I'll just read that out for you. For latency or lag is the period of time that has passed between when a change occurred in the source and the current point in time. So for example, I inserted a row at 5 a.m. and I committed it, and if that row comes in the target at 5:10, so it means the lag is of 10 minutes, right? Straightforward. Now let's see what does it mean for the extract. Extract for latency is the time that has elapsed since the change occurred to the source and the time it was extracted and written into the trail file. So basically, how much time extract took to write the transaction into the trail file, right? For replicate lag is what? The time that has elapsed from the source table change to the time it was applied to the target. So straight away, as the first example, I insert a row at 5 a.m. in the source, and that row gets inserted in the target at 5:10. So my lag is in the replicate is 10 minutes. All right. Now there are two important things. I hope all of you would have done info all, right? So here, so what can we see? The program status group and these 2 points, lag at checkpoint and time since checkpoint. So what are these two? So let's see that. So first, I'll show what is time since checkpoint. Just give a example. For example, if you are reading any books, okay, so you have a bookmark, right, as a tracker till which point you have read and all. So let's take that. For example, I read till page 5, all right, and I keep my marker at the page 5. So time since checkpoint, it means till how, till what time, or since how much time have you not updated your checkpoint file. So let's say here my marker is the checkpoint and the book is the checkpoint file. The thing is, if now in the next half an hour, I read 2-3 pages. So I'll just move my marker to page 2. Oh, sorry, like 5. So 6 and 7. So thing is, my checkpoint file is updated. And if I close my book, for example, 1 hour, so here it means that my checkpoint file is not updated for an hour. Okay, even if you don't get it, it's fine. I will show it with an example. So what is time since checkpoint? Each process has its own checkpoint file. Now, what is this checkpoint? I'll just show a small diagram. Any doubt, please stop me, okay? Anytime. So I'll just show you a brief of how the GG structure is. So that's your source. And this is your target. That's my extract. That's my pump. Replicate, I'll draw it here. And the source of my extracts are the Burido and archives. So these are here. Right. So in terms of extract, so what will extract do? I think we all know it will read from the Burido archives. That is the source for the extract, and it writes to the trail file. So here at any point, if example extract fails, so how will it know, okay, till what point it has read and till what point it has written into the trail files. So all this information is there in the checkpoint file. It works the same way for pump and for replicate also. So here, I just do a slideshow again. Yeah. So the thing is, whenever a process sees a commit in the transaction, a checkpoint is made in the checkpoint file. And normally we see an increase in that time because when the process is stopped. So when the process is stopped, then the checkpoint file is not going to be updated, right? So as long as it is stopped, that much lag it will increase. Or when the extract or replicate is processing a long transaction. When I say long, okay, so let me speak in terms of replicate now, because today I plan to show you what all the steps we can do for the replicate over here. So just this is my network. Pardon my drawing, please. All right. So, so pump, sorry, the pump will read from the local trails, and here you have a collector process which will take everything and write in the trail files. So let me take a square, and this I'll take blue for the RMT trail. All right. Now there can be a case where a single transaction it spanned across many archives, sorry, many trail files. All right. Now what replicate started with from this trail file, and one transaction. What can I give a color? I'll try this. Okay, so for example, a transaction started from this trail file, okay, and it spanned across, for example, 30 trail files, okay, in between. So what will be the status over there? Now, when you do an info replicate, right, you see this point, right, like till what is the trail file it is reading until what RBA it is. So here, for example, So here this is trail file sequence. I think I gave one, right? Yeah. Trail file sequence 1. I'll make it bold for you. And this star, right? That is the start of the long transaction. Its RBA is, for example, 5. I gave 44705 just as an example. So here, when I say 44704, it means that the replicate has read fully till this point, that is before the start of that long transaction. And here it means that it is guaranteed that the replicate has read or applied everything which was there till this point, right? Now here, when the replicate starts to read the long transactions, right? So it's now this is sequence 1. It will read this whole, then it will go to sequence 2, 3, 4. Now, when it is doing that, the this one info replicate, this will not be updated because it has not reached a commit yet. So here, this checkpoint lag will go on increasing 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and all. All right. Any doubt in this? If you're not understanding, I'll say it again because the reason why why I'm trying
Okay.
to explain
Can
because
you please
I
tell
cannot show
once
my
again?
name. Yeah, sure. Just clear it out. I'll do one thing. I'll create a new just for the replicate itself. All right, I'll take a new one. So this is your target. Now here, I'm not drawing the extract and all, okay? So this side is all source. Assume you have the extract and pump over here. This is your replicate. And let's assume that there was a very long or big transaction which took at least 30 trade rails, all right? So just draw it this way. One more, okay? Assume you have 30 here. I mean, I cannot draw that much. So here, all right? This is trail sequence 1. That's my trail sequence 2. That's my trail sequence 3, 4, and 30. All right. Now, assuming that, I'll put this output here itself. I hope it is good enough. Okay, fine. Okay, assuming that now I did info for replicate over here. So here you can see till which point the replicate has applied. All right. So it has applied all the transactions till the trail sequence 1, and this is the RBA. Now, assuming a long transaction. So I had taken star, right? So this starts somewhere here in the trail file sequence 1. Okay, and as I told, my replicate has read till this 44704. So I'll take a color, yeah, 44704. If you want, I'll just create some more space. Okay. I'll write it again. 44704. till this point, okay? And from this RBA, that is 44705, that long transaction is starting, all right, from trail file 1, and it is spanning over almost 30 trails here. Okay, I hope now you understood till here. Then I will start. This
Yes.
diagram is okay. Okay, great. Now, assuming my replicate was here, okay, till this point, and after that, it started to read the long transaction. Now, thing is, when I say long transaction, is the commit is very, I mean, at the end here. So unless and until replicate encounters a commit, all right, this RBA or this trail sequence is not going to change. So if my, assuming this is 0 for now, okay, so now my replicate is here, all right, at this point. So it's fine. Now when it starts reading from here, right, so this is read file sequence 1, then it will go to 2, 3, 4, so on. Till this point, the checkpoint file will not be updated because it will be updated only if it finds the commit statement. So here you might see a case where the checkpoint lag will just increase 10 minutes and then 20, 30. I have even seen having checkpoint log of 2-3 hours also. So thing is, internally it is not stuck in this case. So when it reaches this trail sequence, last trail where it finds the commit, all right, at that point, this trail file will be changed $30 and that whatever the RBA was. Is that okay? Clear? I'll explain how to then check, if it is stuck or what it is doing. But is
So one
this
doubt here.
diagram? Yeah,
Yeah.
please. Yes, please.
Yeah, this is clear. But my doubt is like the long run transaction has written data to all the trail files from starting from 1 to 30.
Correct.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, it's not written to single trail file.
I mean, if it can fit, why not?
From this.
For example, your trail file size is only 500, or for example, 100 MB, right? And if your transaction is huge, then it will not fit, right? So it has to span more trail files.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, got it.
I have a question. Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, the extract will read only committed transactions. So in this
Correct.
case, you are saying uncommitted, and why it will start reading uncommitted?
Okay, this I'm talking about replicate. So when I say replicate, so it is reading from the trail file, right, which the extract has sent. So when if extracts writes anything to the trail file, it is assumed that it is a committed transaction, isn't it?
Right.
Blindly you can assume it, right? So here I'm just trying to show you how to check for the replicate first, then the part two I will show the extract. So I thought to start with the
So it
replicate
just
because
starts applying only, but the lag will get reduced until it reaches the
it
commit.
will increase. Checkpoint file.
But in the meanwhile, backend it applies those
lag.
transactions to database. Or no?
Exactly. Yes. So I'll show you that. I mean, I'll try to explain to you how you can check, because just if you see the checkpoint lag, you should not assume it that it's a long transaction. Now, what I have seen for what if it is blocked? So if the replicate session is blocked by some other session, even at that point, the checkpoint lag will increase.
Right.
And also now, how to check? So I thought to show you this afterwards, but since you asked, I'll tell here. So now here, when you do info for replicate name, and since it has started to process the long transactions, the checkpoint lag will go on increasing. So to check, is it really doing some work? So the point here, what I faced, people ask me how to really know is it working or not. That's the first thing. So to send replicate name status, right? So this, when you do this thing, okay, now for example, your replicate is a trail file sequence 4. So in this output, it will show that it is reading trail sequence number 4 till what RBA it read and how many rows were affected. So when you keep on firing this statement, send replicate name status, the output will change. So this, then now you can relax. Okay, fine, it is applying. So that is fine. Is that okay? Clear?
Yeah.
But there is also a case when this statement will not work. You to send replicate name status, it times out. Has anyone faced this?
Yes, Shrikant.
Yeah, so that's the thing actually. There's a
Yes.
catch. So now how to check now? Now it is timing out and this happens, okay? So now if you're in a fix, okay, now how to know if it's really working or not. So what I do, I will go to the database and then try to see what the replicate session is actually doing. So, okay, I'm sorry, I'm just breaking the flow here because these things were to be thought, in between, but it's fine. So what I do, you need to find the replicate session, what it is actually doing in the target, right? Because what is a replicate? GG is what? It's an SQL apply, basically. But I mean, the replicate is just applying the transactions into the target, right? So here, this is the query I use. I'll just put in the notepad for you guys. Now this will work, I think, till 12.2. Okay, 12.2 GG. So what I do, I select the instance ID, SID, serial hash, the username, SQL ID, the SQL child number, status, log on time, last quality, module, event from the $GV session, because it will have a session, right? And where module equal to the process name. So here in our case, I think this RA, right? So it will be RA star. Same way you can do for the extract also. So this will exactly
To find wait event is this
is to find everything about the replicate, what it is actually doing in the target. So because see from the GG, let's say if this statement times out, then how will you know, right, what it is doing? Or if the replicate is blocked by some other session, how will we know? So first, at least try to find, okay, what is the SID and the serial hash of the replicate session. After you find that, check for any blocking. Is your replicate being blocked? No? Fine. All right. So I'll just try to show you one screenshot. This will give you more idea actually. Here you go. So what I did, I fired that statement. I got the SID, serial hash. I got the SQL ID and status active. Okay. And here in the module, this is how it appears. OGG hyphen replicate name or extract name, whatever, open data source. So here you can see the date event, is it stuck or not, whatever you want. So here now you have to see in terms of the DB tuning part. Because what I have seen, since the replicate is also a session, right? You cannot do everything from the GG end. We have to debug from the database end also. So what I did normally here, the replicate was having lag. So I just fired this statement, at few intervals, and I just saw, okay, the SQL ID was changing and also it is working. It is not stuck. And the last ET call was almost 0, right? So my replicate is not stuck. It is applying. So by this, you can actually check, what is my replicate doing in the database. Is that okay? Fine until now? I'll explain more and more, but till this point.
How do we find what is the actual transaction that's running long?
You have the SQL ID. So for example, if the replicate is seeing a long transaction, the SQL ID, it will not change, right? Just think in terms of a normal session. If that long running job is running even in the source, so what will be the session status, right? Same you will have over here. Only thing is the replicate is applying here. So when you see a particular, what you have to do, you have to fire this statement, 2-3 times and just check, okay, the SQL ID is not changing. And the last ET call, you will see, and from the events, you will get all the information, right? And then you have to debug, okay, what is that SQL ID? Who fired it? What was the purpose of it? So here we come along with the application team, because as you guys know, the data or the data logic is all known by the application team. So we work with them to understand it. Is it okay, normal, or is it by mistake, and all these things. But this is not the only thing we do. We do few more steps. I have shown that in this slide, but at least till this point, is it fine?
Yes.
All right. Now, I hope, if yes, but try this in your environment. So a new trick here is, now this query will not work in GG19C, or I think also in 12.3, because what we guys did directly from 12.2, we upgraded to 19C. Right. So here for 19C, the query is, I just paste that over here. Only thing is the module column here, it is empty. So here I use the process field. And what is this process ID? Where is my paint? So this, right? This thing, this process ID. This. So do info replicate name, and you will have this process ID. Just use it here. So here it will be 11114445. So with this, you will get all the information about the replicate or extract.
Could you share these queries?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, we will. But it's straight. It's straightforward, right? I'm just telling this one, the process field, which is the important field, and I'm firing from GV dollar session itself. Okay, one doubt I will ask you guys: will the pump have a session in the database? If yes, source or target?
No.
No.
Everyone is no, right? Anyone with yes option? And why? Because the pump directly deals with the trail file. It does not have any requirement to log in either to the source or target, right? Great. Any doubt up till now? Or shall I go ahead?
Yes.
Slide number 2, right? Yeah. Okay. So time since checkpoint means you can see the increase in the time since checkpoint when extract pump or replicate was stopped, or when the extract or replicate is processing a long running transaction, or if it is blocked by some other session. Now lag at checkpoint, this is the first column, right? So this is actually the lag, the state away we can say. For extract, lag is the difference in seconds between the time that a record was processed by the extract based on the clock and the timestamp of that record in the data source. Means, for example, if a row was committed at 5 a.m. and extract wrote that row in the trail file at 5:05, means the lag was of 5 minutes. Straightforward. And for the replicate, the lag is the difference in seconds between the time that the last record was processed by the replicate based on the clock and the timestamp of the record in the tree. So I'll just show you in a small diagram here. Now I hope you might have used the log dump, right, to see your trail files.
Yes.
Increase the size. 1 second. Yeah, trail file. So here for every row which is like for every data, right, it will have the timestamp of that when that row timestamp of when that data was written in the trail and when it was committed in the source. So based on this time, okay, so here when the, for example, the time was 5 a.m. when the record was committed in the source, commit time in source, and when the replicate is actually applying this transaction, replicate is applying this at 5:10, right? So 10 minutes was the lag. So Boolean term, I mean, if the row is like it's at 5 a.m. it was committed in the source, and at 5:10 if it was there in the target, means the lag was of 10 minutes. Okay. Now, okay, now let's see various cases. Okay, when you have a lag and how you can approach it. So first thing, what I do, if there is lag in the replicate, okay, as you can see here, 2 hours lag. I first check how many trail files came. For example, if the
Hello, sir.
replicate is, yeah, hello.
What is meant lag?
Okay, I think you joined late, but no problem. So lag in a Boolean term, I'll say if the record is inserted or committed in the source at 5 a.m. and to see that row in the target it took 10 minutes, it means that is the lag. Is that okay? Clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. So now I'm seeing the lag in the replicate, right, for 2 hours. So now first thing what I check, is there a spike in the trail files? So for example, my replicate is, okay, I'll use a notepad here, it will be easy for me. So here the replicate is in the trail file sequence 1, and when I checked, so how I check, I'll just show you guys from the GG SCI prompt. I hope you know why we use SH. It's like the shell prompt, like in SQL Plus we use the exclamatory sign, right? Same way here we use SH ls-lart. I'll just do this star pipetail. So with this, for example, there are 30 trails, right? So I'll see that, output right here. So in the last, I will see as 30, isn't it? So with this, I'll first understand, okay, now there's a spike in the trail file. It means if there was some huge load in the source side. So this lag is not a fake one. Agreed, right? Because people, lag is not a taboo. Like, if you have a lag, it does not mean you always have an issue. It's fine to have a lag. Now we have to investigate it. Okay, what is the cause? Is it clear? So the first case, I'm saying, okay, there's a spike in the trail files. So then we check with the source team, guys, have you done anything over here? And of course, then we get all the, and then we talk and all. No? Yeah. So
About the trail file, the increase in the trail file, is it the local trail file or the remote trail file that increases?
remote trail file. I'm talking in this session only in terms of the replicate. Okay. Now here, what I do, I'll first try to see info. I'll fire this statement info replicate name. So always it is not required that you will have a long transaction, right? So when you do info replicate name, fire this 2-3 times and just check, is this RBA changing? If yes, okay, fine. And this output which I showed you over here, it was of that case only. The thing is, there was a load in the data and the replicate was processing it faster. So we could see that the SQL ID was changing, almost every 2-3 seconds. So it's fine. My replicate is not stuck and it is working. And also, another way to check is the report file. So normally we add this parameter report count every, now I like this one, I do every 1,000 records. The thing is, now here like 2:16:10, almost for less than a second, it's applying 1,000 rows over here. So my replicate is not slow, it's doing fair enough, right? So this way I check if it is stuck or not. So it's not stuck and it's working in good speed. I won't say enough, it's fine, but at least it is not stuck.
A question, Shrikant?
Yeah.
You said the SQL ID changes. If the SQL ID changes, that means it is not long-running transaction, right?
Exactly. So what if, so that's fine, right?
If the SQL ID stays the same, it should be a long-running transaction. I think.
Correct. Well, what I will do, why don't you try it? For example, I hope you might be having some application job, right, which will run long. So just take the start time, approximate, just try to check what is the, just, I would say scan that session. So from that, you will understand. Because
Yes.
if there is so many transactions, but not long ones, it will keep on applying them, right? So the SQL ID will obviously change, right?
Correct. So just question is, if the number of trail files are increasing, that means there is a long-running transaction on the side, right? But on the extract side, it doesn't have a corresponding increase in the trail file on the extract side. It cannot be correlated with the extract, right?
Yes.
Trail
So what if there is, so for example, there is a huge transaction, right? So even extract will write more trails, isn't it? Right or not? Even extract will write more trails and the pump will keep on sending those trails, because if I am saying in the replicate we are seeing a spike in the trail files, from where it came, from source only, right? So
Yes.
only if extract has written those trail files, it will be there in the target, isn't it?
So at the same time, if you have the spike in the trail file on the source and the target, then you can pretty much say it's a long-running transaction.
See, when you want to say long running, right? I will straight away say, why don't we go and check in the database itself? So there's not, I mean, say thumb rule, right? So what I will do, I'll not say even a yes or no. I'll just go straight away to the target and check what is that doing. So this will be an exact check, right? Because if you need to drop a mail to the application team, on your investigation, but you need to have some proofs, right? And I cannot speak based on assumptions, or like if you have trail files, it can be a long running. I mean, I would not do that. So I'll just straight away go and check and give all the details to the application team, because even they will ask for proof. Many a
Correct.
times, actually, what I have seen, it's very tough to speak with those folks, actually, application folks. So you got to have proofs. If you don't have, then they will just nag around and it will just go on. So the first thing what I do, we keep a good rapport with them, and when they don't, like if it is an application issue and they don't agree, then we throw all the proofs.
So these queries are not for any source, right? We don't run any of these queries on the source.
We can, why not? Just put extract name here, right? So if you want to see what extract is doing in the database, right here the extract name. See, everything process, take an extract or replicate, those are going, I mean, extract is going to the source database, but replicate is going to the target database. So what are these guys doing? To check that, we can use this as a first step. Okay, well, let me see what is the SID and all, right? If you want to check something, we need to have at least the SID and the serial hash, right? So this is the first step to actually check what are these guys doing. Understanding, everyone?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, here. So I'm just saying, the use cases which can be, right? So even this will help in the interviews, because in like to my friend, one of the friend, the guy straight away asked, how will you improve the performance, or how will you uh, investigate? And he straight away said, don't tell me that use integrated or parallel replicates. First thing is because it will not be wise just to straight away go and do those stuffs, right? You need to first check, well, what is wrong here. So in that, these things will help you out. So because if you face these issues, it will be easy for you to speak over there. And okay, so and the next case, time since checkpoint is increasing. So this we already saw it. If the session is blocked or there's a long running one, and you can check in send replicate name status, and can just check the RB, if it is moving or not. Okay, so now well, let us say that I use the paint again. Okay, I use a new one. Okay, here only I use. So your replicate is having lag, right? And then you check in what it is doing in the database, and what you found that it is spending time on few SQL IDs, a lot of time actually. You identified that. Okay, now well, let's see what we can do more. So thing is, here you have to work on the tuning part now. So what we do, we'll first check what ID XXX111. Okay, for example. So I'll just try to find, okay, what is this doing in the buffer first. So from that, you can get the plan hash value. Okay, and if you see the elapsed time is more, okay, the execution time is slow actually. So then another way would be to check the history of that SQL ID. Just trying to find, was there any good plan for that SQL ID? If it's a new SQL, then sorry, then you don't have anything, no history then. But yes, if you have a history, let's check, if there was any good plan hash of, So if there is, one option would be you can baseline the good plan. Okay, but the baseline will work only for the new session. So you have to first stop your replicate. Give it some time. Normally, what we do, we stop and we flush the bad plan. Flush the bad plan actually. We baseline the good plan, and then we start the replicate. This is one way. Any doubt here? So here, what trick I'm doing, I'm not going and editing anything in the param file. I'm actually trying to tune it from the DB side itself. And this works awesome. Any doubt here?
If the replicate is doing an insert statement, I don't know if he can do it.
No. Then so sorry. Yes. Yeah. This actually works like update and all, right?
Yeah,
Because
it will not have
insert statement we will have 0, right? The plan hash value.
yes.
The PHP will be 0. So yes, of course, not insert, but there's other things which you can do for inserts. This I'm talking for other stuff. So is it fine? Okay.
Yes.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shikhar, I have a query.
Hello.
Yeah.
You are
Hello.
tuning the actual transaction that is generating the trace, or the transaction of the GoldenGate user?
Of the GG user. So for example, GG is applying the replicate. What it will do, it is applying some transactions, right, based on what it is there in the trail file. Well, like an SQL apply, right? So even it will use the buffer cache. I mean, it will use everything which a normal user job or a normal user session takes, right? Treat it the same way. Okay, this is one way.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes.
How do we know whether plan is good or bad?
Just check the time, right? Execute.
What time?
I mean, like, okay. Keep in the notepad. Well, let me know if it is clear for you guys. We'll reduce the size one second. So we check per elapsed second year. So I mean, see that you have to check from the buffer cache. So you guys can have your own queries to check. Because if the replicate is applying it, then it will be there in the buffer, right? Ideally. So where you can check.
What I'm hello.
Yeah.
Yes, what you are saying is correct. What I'm saying, directly, how do we conclude whether plan is bad or good? Normal scenario.
So I'll check the history of that plan. So from the history,
Yeah.
like we use the AWR, we have a
Based on
query. We'll go and check in the AWR, the DBA, his snapshot, right? Those views we have, right? So it
okay.
will query those views, find the history and how much time, find the various plan hash value it had used and how much was the elapsed time. But this
Okay.
will not work if it's a new SQL ID, right?
Okay. Okay. Thank
So
you.
this actually you have to check in your, in your environment where you have to check, because what I have seen at particular intervals we do have a lag. So I have seen this issue that for few SQL IDs sometimes it picks the bad plan. So here the aim is, why not we tune at the database end? Okay.
Okay. Okay.
And but another few things which we can do is like, okay, this the baseline is one way, or we can try to tune the SQL ID. Now, if you guys are the PT experts, we can check the plan and do it. Or we it's an easy way to use SQL tuning advisor. So we run this SQL, pass the SQL ID, and then it will give us some recommendations. Like, for example, if the stale is bad, right? Sorry, if the stats is stale or bad, right? Or it is not gathered. So the first thing is, replicate should have all the stats, right? Proper stats, stats for those underlying objects, like for those tables in the which are part of the replicate. So if the stats is not proper for those tables, then of course then you will not have that speed which you are expecting. And what I've seen, sometimes it will give the recommendation like create a SQL profile, or it will give some index recommendation. Now, when I say SQL apply, right? What is a, okay, let's show in a diagram itself. So for replicate, what it does normally, it will just log into the target and it will read the data from the trail, so convert it into the native SQLs, and it will apply it, right? The thing is, it is actually doing an SQL apply. So when it is doing SQL
Yes,
apply, so for example, you have an update statement and all, right? So we have to first scan for that row, right? So if there are no proper indexes, if there are no proper stats, it will go for the full table scan, right? And of course, it will be slow.
yes, yes.
So,
Yes.
I have seen people try to tune this by playing around with the parameters of the replicate, but actually the problem is there in the database. So you got to tune that. So if you have good indexes and all, replicate will be very fast, because I have seen lag of at least 40 hours vanishing in hardly 5-10 minutes after we added the indexes, the proper indexes. So yes, if you guys are good in tuning, you can do it. Or I take help of this tuning, advisory, all right? Or we work with the application team, guys, how can we tune this? Because every day, if it is having lag, that's a big headache. And I like to make my job easy, because sometimes the lag is exact. They escalate it. So here, from straight away, we dig to the root cause so that the application team, they don't escalate. So this is one way we work with them, So we make them only to tune half the time. But yes, we can also tune this way, or now I'm not a PT expert, so if yes, but if there are more ways, yes, why not? So so we can use those ways also.
Thank
Any
you.
doubt
Thank
here?
you. Thank you.
Okay, great. Okay, let me do this.
GoldenGate way to tune it in database.
Sorry.
If there are no scope for database tuning, is there any option on GoldenGate to tune the replicate?
See, yes, there are, but let's say if the stats are not proper, right? Then how can GG tune it, right?
No, what I mean to say is everything on the database tuning side is
No.
good.
There are ways GG also. No. These are the these are the few ways you can identify, because if everything is fine from the database, for example, the stat at Google, the stats are proper and indexes are good, but still you have a lag. Now, let's see what we can do from the database end. These are step-by-step, checks. If you don't have anything wrong from the database side, now let's see how we can tune the replicate here. Okay, I got your thing, but is it fine?
Yes, that's what I was asking.
Correct. Yeah, of course, because we can't do everything from the database. It has to be, a team thing actually. Now, I faced this issue. It's a very unique one. We had the source as Oracle, and the target was SQL server on Azure. So what was happening that the replicator was having a lot of lag when a batch job was ran. So when the SQL guy he tried to check the plan. So what he saw, the primary key was varchar here in the source, and the target, it was getting convert. It was appearing as n varchar. Okay, because what replicate will do when it goes to the target, right? It will try to work according to the character set of the target DB. This is same. This goes same with any standard, even for you. Like, if you take one update or insert, and if you try to run in the target, there it will use the existing database character set, isn't it? Ideally, right? So in that case, the varchar was getting used as n varchar actually. So this was not identified by us, but yes, of course, the SQL Server DBA identified it. Okay, from the SQL Server end. Okay, so it was a hunch. I would say that because we tried with Oracle and all, it was just going damn long for weeks. So one thing we identified, since it is getting converted, why don't we stop it? So what we did, we use this parameter in the replicate, that is source character set pass through. It means that just use the source character set. So we instructed the replicate to not to use the target the target database character set. Instead, use the source. But yes, this is not advisable. We tried to test it out and it worked. So because when you play with the character set, there are sometimes, if the character set are not compatible, you can see some data issues. So yes, this you have to try in non-prod. So this is how we check and try and all. It's just one case, so I thought to share with you. I found it interesting, so I am sharing here. Now, of course, another thing, splitting the replicate. Now, if you have one replicate, right, and there's a huge data load. So for example, that one replicate is having around, for example, say 20 tables, all right? And from that, there's one or say 2 to 3 tables which are heavy transactions ones, okay? So half the time, actually due to the transactions, or say huge transactions on these few tables, it affects the replication of other tables also, right? So in this case, so since here you were aware that the data load is going to be high for few tables. For example, if you're in telecom, right? So there are few tables related to the monthly job, which is always a heavy TML one, right? So you need so it is advisable to split the replicate here. So that is what one thing we do, and this is done very commonly. So what I tell, normally, if we have various application team, right, it's always good to have a separate replication flow for each team. Because, for example, this so in this 20 table, there are objects of 3 application team, all right? Now this table belongs to only 1 application. So just because of this guy, the other 2 are also affected. So to avoid that, and it is always nice to have a separate extract, pump, per replicate. Of course, I mean in Sybase this can't be achieved because in Sybase extract, only one extract can capture data for a particular table. Because in Oracle, you can have the same table extracted by 2 extracts, but not in Sybase. Of course, it is not related here. I just remembered, so I'm saying this. Okay, so is this point clear until now? Doubts? Anyone? Thank you, guys. Yeah, and this is one more case like IO. For example, the file system, right? So we used to see lag in the pump side and even in the extract side. So we used to say, then we opened one SR because we tried all these things and we could not find the answer. So when the Oracle folks identified that the file system is slow, so in that case, yes, you have to now we work with ACFS. So that's one of the faster one. So it's like it will not occur for everyone, but yes, I just thought to share this. And then swap space and memory. So now there is one drawback. Yeah, please.
What is the solution for that IO performance issue?
So what we had got from the Oracle. They told us to change few parameters and all. That's from the
ACFS.
Yeah, no. ACFS is what we moved into it.
Okay.
Earlier it was ZFS. So I don't remember that, but that was
ZFS. Okay.
yes, ZFS actually.
Any
So, but
specific parameters you recommend for that IO related options like file system?
this is no, because that is what I believe always check with Oracle. I don't play around with the file system.
How to identify whether there is a IO performance
So we
issue or
took help
not?
of Oracle, yeah. So we took help of Oracle here.
Okay, can we something we can identify using some queries or some report like GGSC? Can you
I'll have
something?
to check on.
Okay.
I'll check on it. Yeah, because this was 3 years back. I don't remember much. We have to check on it because the thing is, I go with the safe way. I opened an SR. Anyways, Okay.
Hi, Shrikant. Pankaj.
Yeah. Doubt? Yeah,
Just
yeah,
want
please.
to whatever you explaining right now, the same I am facing issue currently, and usually
So,
same issue.
Srikant, for ACFS, I would like to share our experience. I mean, we
Yeah.
we we created ACFS out of high performance disks. So there's something
Okay.
called a SAS SSD.
Mm-hmm.
So we couple of SSD disks, and then we created this group, and then again on that this group we created the ACFS GoldenGate file system. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that improves the performance to some extent, because
Mm-hmm.
on a high performance disks, the writing and reading of the files is more frequent.
Correct.
So
Correct.
that's
Correct.
where
Correct.
we increase some performance. That's one recommendation.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Correct. Correct. Because I don't play much in the on these parts. So I mean this I found in the even in the Oracle docs that this is one of the factors. But yes, everyone will have their own experience on this.
Is
Thank
there
you.
something range function for replicate?
Sorry.
Range function? I heard many folks
Yes,
talk about range.
range function is based. It's for that we use for the classic one. Actually, nowadays we don't use that, so I thought to skip that. So what will that range do? Now, okay, glad you asked me that. So here,
Range works with only classic, right?
yes, only classic.
Threading actually, there is something called threading and
Correct,
integrated.
correct.
You can
You have
explain
that
if you.
even coordinated also. Okay, I'll give a brief here. All right. The thing is, now as I told you, we had 20 tables, and from that, the 2-3 tables are heavy. Okay, so I created, for example, one replicate each for those big ones. Okay, so I say table A and one replicate for B and one for C. But even after this, the transaction is too much. Still I'm having lag. So by range, you can split the table itself. So if you have a huge table, for example, what name I should give it? Telecom, because I face this a lot in the telecom domain, telecom monthly. Okay, for example, the thing is in the replicate side, you have this parameter map, source table and all, target. Okay, target schema, then the table name. When you use a range, okay, I might be wrong in the syntax, but yes, how we use. So, for example, if I need to split this table into 5, right? This is, and I'll have to create 5 new replicates. 2, 3, so and then 5. So this is like this works in a heap sort actually. So internally it will split that table accordingly. So this is one way you can improve it for classic. But nowadays I'm not seeing this this is used much, because we have coordinated replicate here. So this internally does the same thing, and coordinated we can use for non-Oracle also. So actually this helps me. I'll say a case where we had to do the initial load from Oracle to Postgres in EC2. Okay, in AWS EC2. The thing is, it was a fresh client and all, so we cannot use export and import, right? Because I mean, if it was Oracle, fine, but here since it is Postgres, so I use the initial load GoldenGate mechanism. Okay, so we created the initial load extracts, and then in the target side we had good amount of CPU cores, so we just use this to the fullest. I remember my friend using even 20 threads for one. So we organized it we had at least I'll say around 10 replicates, and each was having 5 to 10 threads, and one he gave even 20 threads. So here we test it out how it works. So yes, that is like a internal parallelism. So this will of course increase the speed of the huge transaction. Since here we are aware, right? So there has to be a huge transaction. At least I would say 2 to 3 TBs there. So yes, is it fine, clear? And
Yes.
also I would say we also use integrated replicate. I will explain more at the end of this class, and parallel replicate. So I'll just say one case for this, because there was one application which we missed to monitor, and the replicate was abandoned for I think 2 to 3 weeks. So the data was spoiled, of course. So the application, I mean, it was a dev environment. So application, I mean, just sync it again. But the data was very huge. I mean, it was at least, I don't remember, 10 TBs, I think. So even after we did the export and import and all, it took me export and import, I think 2 days to be precise. And the replicate then we started, and then there we use the integrated one with parallelism 4, but it was not helping. Even at one point it was giving 500 hours of lag. I mean, it's not practical because the trail files are so huge. I mean, so many trail files are there, 1,000+ trail files, and each trail is of 500 MB. So you can imagine the data. So there we tried with parallel loop replicate, and it cleared everything in 5 hours. So yes, I mean, this parallel loop replicate, integrated one, coordinated one, they have, I mean, their architecture is not same as the classic one. So that's a whole new topic only. But yes, it helps in the performance. Integrate, I mean, this integrated replicate, I'm not much fond of it, to be frank enough. It has, it gave us more issues than benefit. Integrated one. I'll tell why in the going slides actually. Is it fine up till now?
Yes.
And yes, for the
This
parallel
one,
replicate.
yeah, this classic parallel, it works for the heterogeneous too, or it's only for Oracle to Oracle?
No, I don't think it works. No. I have, as per my knowledge, no. Coordinated, yes, it
Right,
will
okay.
work.
What is the best
Coordinated will
method?
work.
Let's say if you want to load, initial load from Oracle to Postgres, what is the best way to improve the performance?
Okay. So here you have
Heterogeneous,
to,
yeah.
okay. Yeah. So let me ask you. In the initial load extract, first you have to tune that thing, right? Because you have to, because it will be the initial load extract will read from the database, right? Not from the I mean the transactional logs, right?
Right.
So here,
Right.
since you are aware that the data is going to be huge, so what I do, it is, I would say, sensible. For example, now, okay, in my case, that one table was at least 2 TBs. Okay, even if I give one extract full for it, it will not help me, right? Isn't it?
Right.
So here was a game plan. So what we did, try to reduce the work of the extract. Now one guy used SQL predicates, okay, but this in turn will slow down the extract. What I mean to say is, give extract only one job, that is to read from the database. Don't give it more job of filtering it, scanning it, and all. So what we did, we created few temporary tables. So since it was a 2 TB one, right? And not it was a telecom one, so it was a I mean partition table. So not every partition it will be live, right? So we took the whole list of it and then we splitted them and we made temporary tables out of it. And then we made 5-6 initial load extracts to read from them. So this way, I am doing the planning work of splitting the load because there is no point because initial load extract for 2 TB, it will take a lot of time, 30 hours more. And if it fails in between, then you have to start from scratch again because initial load extract does not have checkpoint.
Hello? Did we lose Srikanth?
No, I think
Probably.
we pick him up. But maybe his screen froze.
Yeah.
Yeah, wait, he will be back.
Hello, am I audible? Hello.
Yes,
Not sure. Audible, right?
fine.
Yes.
Sorry for. Well, okay, so is the doubt clear? So we can plan to split the load ourselves.
Okay. And is the partitioning, let's say if the table is partitioning table, can we do the mapping at partition level? Is it support GoldenGate? I don't think so much.
I think we can. I've not tried this, but yes, I will try. I mean, yeah, I can try it out because if I give the table and then the partition name, I can try, or I can use the filter clause, but I have to check on it. Like any way by which we can reduce the load of the extract to scan, yes, why not? Is it fine? Doubts any?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and one more thing I is to say, when you guys are trying to split, right? Please ensure that the child and parent is in the same set, because if you have parent in replicate 1 and child in replicate 2, then that will create the referential integrity error. Okay, because there can be a time that the child record is trying to insert before the parent because the replicate are not in sync with each other. So it is always better to have both the parent and child in one group only. One group means one extract, one pump, and one per replicate.
Hey,
Is
one
that
thing
okay,
actually
clear?
related to referential constraint, there is a parameter called differ referential constraints. So anyone
Yes, there
use
is
actually what is the impact
no.
of that? Any idea on that?
Deferred means like it will not consider the parent and child, right?
Different, yeah, correct. So
I
what
will
we are
not
getting is
use that.
on target side, replicate side, there
Yeah.
is a hint actually. Oracle is adding ignore something, discard reference, something, add some hint it's adding. Is there will be any impact with that hint or any idea?
Where are you
Yes.
adding? In parameter file?
No, Oracle actually, the hint Oracle, because of this differ referential constraint parameter, so Oracle is adding, while inserting a record into the target table, it's adding a hint called like discard reference or something. I don't remember exact name, but
But
it's
my
like
first thing
ignoring
would be,
reference.
yeah, but the first thing would be, why are you even using it? Because at any point of time, you are playing with the data integrity, right? So there has to be a use case why you are even
Exactly. Yeah,
using it.
something I think application team requirement. Yeah.
Okay. So then it's fine. I mean, if it comes from the application team, then it's fine. And based on the hint, I think we have
Okay,
to check
performance. Well, let's say what will impact any kind of performance. This ignoring
performance
this
means,
referential constraint.
yeah, I mean, like, for no, for foreign keys, no. Only if the primary key and all are not proper, yes, it will impact. Because here you are taking the child and parent as to, different entity. They are not related, right? So it is not affecting. Only if their respective indexes and all, if they are not proper, yes, it will impact. But for me, I have not used that yet. Okay, so I have not come across a case where I need to use, I mean, to use that, because in banking environment, I mean, we really can't play with the data, right? So it's based on the application team, know what is the requirement and all. Okay, so splitting is fine. Okay, one of you have asked how to
Sir.
split a existing
Hello.
process. Okay, yeah.
Sorry for interruption. Sir, you are talking about split replicate, right?
Correct,
Earlier.
yeah. Yes.
Sir, can you please shortly repeat this section?
Yeah, sure. Splitting means what? For example, you have, okay, in one replicate you have only one table A, but that is a huge one, right?
Okay.
And you are facing lag issues in them. So how can you solve it? So there is one way, that is range. Okay, this is only for the classic replicate. So here the table itself will be splitted. So here I'm doing a split of 5.
Okay.
So I'll create 5 new replicates, and internally with the heap sort, the heap join, actually is a internal algorithm. They will split the rows among themselves. Okay, so this is internal to Oracle. Same way you have coordinated a replicate also, in which there will be internal thread spawn actually, and they will work in parallel. You also have integrated replicate, which works in the same fashion. You also have parallel replicate. So this actually helps when you have really huge data. But yes, which is good, which is bad, coordinated. But I am not satisfied. We had few issues, so I'll share that now in this slide. So it's based on your environment. All right.
Okay. So currently, let me share one thing. Currently, I have configured GoldenGate in a bank in Bangladesh. So it was all about.
I'm sorry, your voice is going on. Hello. Hello. Okay, I think he'll be back.
Hello.
Yeah. I'm sorry, we lost you. Say again.
Okay, what I was talking that I have configured GoldenGate in a bank in replicate integrated replicate.
Okay.
So it is so far on months have gone. Until now it working fine.
That's fine.
So
Good enough.
So I was planning to split replicate for on process. That's why
Correct.
asking you to repeat this section.
Exactly. And also, I think your question, if I understand, is more about how to split an existing replicate, right?
Exactly.
Exactly. That's a totally new topic. Actually, okay. I thought I will say at the end. Okay. So back to the slide. Okay, this is one of the interesting things I saw. Swap space or memory alert. Okay, has anytime SA team told you that this GG process are taking up the swap space or the memory space? Anytime? Anyone?
Shrikant, can you please go back? I want to just note down your number.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, we can share it afterwards also. It is this one because any doubt you can even I mean get in touch with this scholar IT folks. So I work with them and it's an awesome team. Okay, so it's fine. I'm available. And yes,
So you will be
feedback.
sharing this document attachment, the notepad.
Yes. Yeah. Everything it will be done. Yeah. Okay. Where was I? Okay. So has anyone faced this error? As a team coming and telling to you that your GG process are taking up the swap space or memory? Anyone? Yes, no. Okay, fine. So thing is, in GG, in extract and all, right? They take by default a cache size of 64 GB. I'm not sure if what you can do. Just read your report file of your extract, and you will see cache size as 64 GB. So we had, faced this issue where because if the swap space exhausts, then the server can bounce, right? So it's a very risky thing. You don't want your GG to be a cause of an outage, and if that does, then management will grill you and all. So what we do, we have an alert. The SA team, they inform us. So now I know on real time we cannot do anything, right, with the swap or memory. So what we do, we bounce that process. So when you bounce, the space is released. It's an immediate solution, okay? And what you can do, and you can write as cache MGR cache size as 8 GB, 4 GB, 2 GB, whatever, So in this way, I am restricting my extract not to use more cache. All right. So we have an environment where in one GG home we have at least 120 GG processes. So yes, we faced issue that okay. This one case, it's a nice one, and also stream pool size. I'm not sure if you guys have faced this issue yet, that your extract is appending with no
Yeah.
shared spool space and all, right?
Yeah, I
So
am
well,
agree with you. I have already faced this issue.
great.
This
So
two
here,
size issue.
yeah, but now, okay, now you are like in your business time, and I had at least 5-6 extracts. So in that, okay, better I write it down. Okay, extract 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so we have so I had this case here. This first extract was appended, so I'll use X. Second was up. Third was appended, up, up, and up. Okay, so here the stream pool size or the shared pool was not enough, and these extracts were failing. 1, 3, and 4, and their lag was increasing, and extract 2, 5, 6, 7 were up. So here, I use a trick, because as I think you will agree, one way is to increase your stream pool and shared pool. Okay, but I'm sure that you cannot play with that on the daytime or the business hour side, where you have a lot of approvals, right? Those cycle. But now, how to solve this immediately? So what I did, for some time, I stopped these extracts, the ones which were up and were not having any lag, and then I started these guys, because it's like you have 3 seats now, so I'm just adjusting. So when I started those the appended one, it worked perfectly fine. This is one way to just play around, because I hope you agree, right? Like, we can't increase the shared pool just on the fly, right? Clear in this? Any doubts? Data we use integrated one, but it's not that way. So what I would say, for extract, if you want, use integrated extract, and for replicates, you can either go with classic or integrated. Okay, but don't go straight away with parallel, and all, because it will also take that much CPU, right? So you have to see a trade-off. So you have to check based on your flow. Integrated extract, yes, it will be faster, but yes, it is not easy to play around. Only if you know how to play, okay, that's an other thing. Okay, that all things I have explained here, how to play with those. Okay, but here then one, because what we do, we use integrated extracts and also classic, and in the for replicate we use classic only, because with this, the way which I told you right here, we are able to run classic very smoothly, because I am very sure you might have not seen this way, how we go and actually work on tuning in the database side, more on the process side. But yes, we are using batch SQLs also. So I'll show you that in which case we are using and in which case we are not using. At least what? Yeah.
So just for your information, just I was telling the same scenario what you are explaining, right? The same scenario right now I'm guessing, and I was using the integrated replicate, right? So it was coming. Then raise the SR, and then we decided to go with because it's on source side we are doing the import. Okay, right. So import, right? Once the import completed, only transition will be completed.
Right.
So what happened? So billions of records on the source side, which we are importing. Right? So we move to the classic replicate with the batch SQL. So right now
Yeah.
I'm getting 400K insert per minute.
Exactly
Currently
my
it's going.
point. Exactly my point. See, that's what I'm saying, just don't go by the documentation. But let's play around. So I'll just show you a few more case also. And where I feel
Classic means is the classic parallel or regular old classic?
regular one.
Oh, old classic. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That gives performance too. Like, but there is no parallelism, right? In a classic.
Exactly my point.
How we achieve?
Exactly. See, parallelism is what? It is not okay. Okay. I think you guys are confusing it. Wait. I'm not sure if you are aware of this. The replicate is not okay. For example, so let's show a diagram. I hope it is fine, right? We are, I think, 2 hours plus now. It's okay, right? I'll speak more. I can speak.
Yeah, sure.
Great. Because I should not get, that I'm speaking long. All right, that's my source, that's my target. All right. Transaction 1, it is committed here. It will have one SCN, right? Transaction 2, and it will have what the source SCN1. Transaction 2 committed source SCN. So just go copy this. 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3. It is clear, right? Like we have some 5 transactions in the source, and every time they are committed, they will have some different SCN, isn't it? And here now for now, I'll just skip the archive log and all, archive trail and all. Okay. Extract is, I think it's a font. Yeah, extract is for reading all this data. It is giving to pump. Okay. And from there it is going to replicate over here. Now don't assume that classic replicate, it will apply the row one by one in the same order as it is there in the source. It will just, now assuming that all I hope you are aware of this. It has not. So here, now these all 5 transactions, they had different SCN in the source, but they will all have same target SCN, because the replicate is not going to work in a serial way. Please, even if you a normal classic replicate, right, it will apply in groups. Okay, so there is a parameter group trans op. I thought to say at the end, but okay, it's fine. Group trans op. Okay, so it's by default, I think it is 1000. Okay, but whenever you have doubt, right, so from the GG STA prompt, just do this following: info param group trans op or batch SQL. It will give all the values and where all it will work for that option. Okay, so here the replicate here is going to group all the source transaction how much it can, and it will apply in the target. So don't be under the assumption that the classic is slow. Understood? I'll explain more, but I'm just trying to tell you 5 or even 100 transactions in the source will have one SCN in the target, because the replicate is going to apply them at once. Clear? Well, this is how it works.
Okay. But
Clear,
there
right?
is no parallelism, right? But for sure, Classic does not support parallelism.
It is grouping the transactions.
Okay. Mm.
You know, so in one thread, it is.
But again, that grouping is available in integrated also.
Yeah,
right.
it is. Yeah, it is.
But integrated is still more powerful than Classic.
I agree on it, but you need to know how to use it, and it is not. See, on paper, yes, it is, and I'm not saying it is slow, but there are few cases which I faced, it did not work. So you know, it's based on your environments, because now even one guy told that integrated was slow actually, right? He even raised an SR, and trust me, if you even if you raise an SR, right, it just goes weeks and weeks with no proper output. This is my experience. Okay, so I'll tell one example which I faced. Now my integrated replicate used to fail without giving any error. Has anyone faced, like, your extract and replicate will just fail? No error in the report file, nothing in the GG SCR log. Anyone? But it will
report files. I think it will report file.
No. That's what I'm saying. Nothing is there in the report file, but nothing is there in the. I would say the report file. You know, half only. It just stopped to write only after that. But again, it will start after some times. Anyone, have they faced this? Okay, I'll take it as no. So the thing is, here it happens when the GG software itself crashes. Okay, so what was happening is that my replicate, which is integrated, it was just failing, and when we checked, there was a core dump. Okay, so whenever there is a software failure, it will dump those information in some file. I think it is true even for a database and OS. So same way for GG, we also have that. So what the first step you can do it in the GG home. Just try to find if you see any file with the name core, CORE. So we had found that file, and when we tried to read that file, we read it through this utility GDB and all, and there we found that it was segmentation fault. So when we raise, and now whenever you get this error, always raise an SR. So once we raise the SR, now in the integrated replicate, we used batch SQL. SR folk told that the batch SQL is the cause of that error. It was shooting the memory. So once we took that out, after that we did not face that error. So as I'm saying, it's all related to your environment. There is no good or bad. What suits your environment, go for that. Simple.
So in that case, batch SQL, we cannot use it blindly, right? You're saying batch SQL is.
Of course. I know, because see, I've seen, many of my friends, if you want to tune it, add this parameter. That is actually wrong.
Correct.
Very wrong. Very, very wrong. You need to first check why it is slow, because you have to first diagnose the disease, right? And we can't just keep on trying, you know. So that's the thing, right? But yes, it does not mean that we can't use it. So so I thought to even add that part, that is of batch SQL. So batch SQL means what? As the word says batch. Batch means, I mean, the similar SQLs, right? It will group them. Simple. So it will group the statements which are similar into arrays. And when to use it? When you know that you have many small transactions with some standard like batch operation. So it can, you know, help you. I mean, this is there everywhere, even in the internet and all. But yes, batch SQL, right? It will not always work the way you want. I'm
Small
sure.
transactions means, let's say, if we do frequent commits, right? Like
OLTP.
more number of
OLTPs. OLTP, in short.
Okay.
Now, have you seen this error? If you guys are use the batch SQL, I hope you have seen this error, right? The batch SQL suspended, continuing in normal mode, aborting batch SQL and all. Has anyone faced this or seen this in the report file? It will not append since it's a warning, but has anyone seen it or not? Okay, I'll take that as a no. Okay, the thing is, the batch SQL will not work the way it should work if there are few exceptions, like if it is having log or long, if the statement is more than 25k in length, or if the table has one or more unique keys besides the primary key. And so for these things, you know, it will not work. Even if you use if you use this parameter in the replicate SQL exec, you know, like application team, they used for the transformation. If you are using this, please don't use integrated one. Just directly go with the classic, because what it is doing, you know, integrated, it cannot work with such ways. So thing is, integrated will only work fine if it gets the data in the way it is expecting, in terms of batches, you know, in terms of similar SQLs. So one I saw this talk in the Oracle MOS. So in the report file, you will get these statistics, okay? Like how many batches were executed, how many rollbacks happened. So thing is, whenever you face such issues, right? So this happens, like the batch SQL will try to sort the DML, okay? But this might fail as the DML is sorted, and replicate will abort the transaction and re-attempt this transaction with batch SQL disable mode. So then it will again try this in the next transaction. So thing is, the batch SQL will try to use that batch SQL way, but it will hit those errors. Then it will roll back, and then it will apply in the normal way. When I say normal way, it means this way. Where it went? The group trans op I showed, right? Yeah, this one. So it will then go for the normal way, and in normal way, replicate will use group trans op. So group trans op will just group the transactions. So I hope you might have seen some people use both the group trans op and the batch SQL, which is actually wrong. Their work is totally, you know, different, and you can't use it as one. Am I clear?
Yeah, clear. Sir.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah. Anyone?
So,
Yes.
Hello. Okay, great. Now, when to use group transfer. So even, so let me explain that. So group transfer, right, what it will do, it will control the number of records that are grouped into a single replicate transaction. The same way I told here, right? This replicate is grouping all these source transactions as one single target transaction. Okay, so for example, for transaction 1 has 25, 2 has 50, and 3 is having 60 operations. And group transfer, for example, it is set to 100. So what it will do, so when the first transaction come, for replicate will see, okay, it is less than 100. So it will collect more transaction. It will go for the second, okay, 25 plus 50, but it is still less than 100. Then when it takes the third transaction, it will be more than 100. Then for replicate will commit at once all these three. So what this will do, right? When you have a smaller value, so what this will do, this will apply lot of transactions as one, and also it will have less update to the checkpoint file, right? So here, but if you have a small value, it will result into more commits, greater checkpoints, and more frequent updates for the reporting. So this will cause more overhead and less throughput. So here we should not make our replicate, if you insert one row, go and update the checkpoint file. No, but let it, collect it and apply it at once. And here for the integrated one, it will work only if the parallelism is 1. Okay. Now max transfer, I'll say a case. Okay. Thing is, one of my friend, he said that the application is, yeah.
What is the best number for group run-ups? Is the default is 100. So generally,
No,
what we can go with is
1,000.
Okay.
I
So
mean,
is that a good number, or we can increase
based on
group
your,
runs?
it is based on your application flow. There is no
Okay.
good number, because if your application is not that active, and if you do 5,000 and all, then it is waste, right? You are
Right,
in
is
terms.
some anywhere we can identify is because of group runs is causing some delay, and something we can identify the reason for.
You have to check the report file, and where we have to see the speed here. This will give, so here I gave report count every 1,000 record. So thing is, it will show me now here, see, 261,714,000, right? And here it is 5,000, say 6,000. So almost every second, not even a second, within that second it is doing 1,000 rows, right? So I'm fine with it. If this is slow and all, then you have to check. So this is based on your application flow. Okay. Now one of my friends.
Hello.
Yeah.
Let me share some scenario in my case. I am using integrated replicate.
Okay.
So first of all, I could see that replicate process is trying to do some transaction, larger transaction than 50,000 or 10,000 record.
Yes.
So once I use bash SQL, I could see that it's processing 1 lakhs and above 2 lakhs record in on a second. So in my scenario, I could see that bash SQL is works fine here in my case.
Why it worked? You said an application batch job, right?
Yeah.
So batch job means it will group them, isn't it?
Yes.
That's it. Oh, you have the answer, right?
Okay, so
because
in
one
my
of
case, is there any bad impact or something else?
no. See, thing is, I faced a bad impact. It does not mean you will also face, right? And even
That's because I could see that yeah, it's taking a huge time to process 10,000 or 15,000 records. So after
correct,
using
correct,
batch SQL, it's completed the 1
exactly,
lakhs or 2 lakhs recorded in on a second.
correct, because that is how your application flow is, right? Now my application flow will not work as your application, right? Every
Yeah,
application flow is based on their business for logic, right? So how the
absolutely.
data is flowing. The thing is, I mean, I do a smart way. Imagine, can you analyze the way how they are doing the operation? So you have to try it out, right? I mean,
Yeah,
like, if I tell to do that, I mean, you guys should be doing the work of data scientist. Then it's a trade-off because my aim is to improve the performance. Now, since I mean, in your case, the batch SQL worked fine. So that is because the data was of that type. If you had any of these, points, lob and all lang, then it will not work for you. So based
okay.
on how data is there at your end, it will work.
Okay.
So there is
So,
no
sir,
good or bad actually. It's based on how your environment is straightforward.
okay. So, one more question. Is it true that if I use bash SQL, so it will consume more memory?
CPU, yeah, why not?
Okay.
It will, right? That all
Yeah.
you can see in the report file.
Yeah, I have enough memory. That's why it works
Oh,
fine, I think.
I mean, I think you might be having exa data, right? Exa data.
No, not Exadata.
Okay. But normally people who have that hexa data, right? I mean, they don't have these
Yeah.
issues. Okay. The max turns off. Okay. Any other doubt? Yeah.
Sorry, Pankaj speaking. Just want to know. So what happened? Like in my replicate also, the batch SQL suspended due to some reason.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I just want to know. I mean, so after that, I got the message that the process restart abandoned and it's moved to the next trail file. So and it's running. I mean, just want to know whether the batch SQL will be, because I cannot see any other message that batch SQL is using or not using. So only I got initially that there's a batch SQL suspended. It moved to normal mode, right? And after
Yes.
that, I'm not seeing any. I mean, any other message. So will it be
So
using batch
normal
SQL or?
mode. So what it will do, it will again try to use for the next transaction. See here, the whole line. When enabled, the batch SQL sorts the DML2 within the transactions. This can sometimes fail, and for replicate will abort the transaction, re-attempt the transaction in a non-batch SQL mode, and then it will again try to use the batch SQL in the next transaction. So it
Okay.
will,
So
but
it
for
will,
the
but it.
next transaction.
Actually,
Sorry.
actually in my condition, as I told you, right? So on the source side, we did import, right? So the
Mm-hmm.
target side, it will be a very big transition. Okay. So I have 112 files in queue. It belongs to one table
Mm-hmm.
only, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now I can see the log. In the log, is batch SQL is suspended, and
Right.
so I'm thinking, shall I stop it or shall I mean,
Oh,
stop and
okay. I'm saying go with parallel for replicate because I had the same case and I used that. I think I told in the example also that we had the case where we used the uh, integrated for replicate for the initial load in the target side. It was not working as expected. So then we use the batch SQL. Sorry, parallel one. Sorry.
So what causes batch SQL to fail? Reason? What reason?
Yeah, there are two. I mean, few of the reasons. If you have a log or long, if your statement is more than the statement length is more than 25K, if the target table has one or more unique keys based on besides the primary key, I mean extra keys, and if your target table has trigger, so this is only for the SQL Server. There are few more cases also. You can check in the Oracle doc itself. So I just gave a few ones. Any other doubt? Okay, fine. So yeah, max transoff, right? So one of my friend, daily at I think 1 a.m. application team will do the purge job, okay? And the purge job in one single transaction, it will have millions of operations, okay? And at that point, for replicate, we used to have 2-3 of will do, it will split that big transaction into multiple. Okay, so here it is like in the source, it is having one SCN, but in the target, it will split that big one into multiple small transaction and it will commit in the target. So here in the target, it will have multiple target SCNs since it has been splitted. But this is based on few cases only. So I'll just read out the explanation. Max transoff is used to split large source transaction into smaller ones on the target system. This parameter can be used when the target database is not configured to accommodate large transactions. I mean, example, if the Oracle rollback segment are not large enough on the target to reproduce a source transaction that performs 1 million deletes and all. So if you could specify max transoff as 10,000, which force the replicate to issue a commit after every group of 10,000 deletes or whatever the operation is. Any doubt? So this you have to try it out, okay? As it says, so here you should be aware of what operation is coming. Only then it will work. Any doubt? Okay, fine. I think we are
max transaction should be used in source side, right?
No, target side.
Target side. Okay, sorry.
Okay, so today I was focused on the replicate only. In the part 2, okay. I'll do the extract. Okay, integrated. I'll just share few points. We need to have enough stream pool size. So whenever you say, right, the integrated replicate is slow. So what I have seen in few of the Oracle docs that they tell us to generate the AWR and all, and then we have to check how many row executed per second. So when normally the stream pool size is not enough, right? So integrated will not perform the way it should be. So integrated is internally doing what I think we call that Oracle streams, right? So those of you who know streams well, then you can play with this integrated well. So the standard is to have 1 GB for each integrated process, be it extract or replicate, 1 GB, okay, and plus 25%. So size your stream pool properly. If not, then it will take your shared pool, and I hope you won't want to be in that state, because if the shared pool is taken by this replicate, then it can cause some other application job to fail, right? So you have to take care of that. And integrated replicate, don't use for DDL sequences. And this one, SQL exec, if you have this right, it will actually work as a classic. So it is no use only. It is just integrated, but if you have SQL exec, because integrated, as you know, it tries to work in a group, right? But the SQL exec, it means it will try to execute any procedure and all for every row. So integrated, it will not work. And in some event actions, avoid this integrated one, because transactions are applied serially in direct apply mode. Heavy use of such operation may reduce the performance. So instead of that, just go with classic. But yes, there is no thumb rule. You have to check in your environment. But yes, I'm saying do not blindly go with integrated, classic, parallel, and all. Always try to debug why it is slow. That was the aim of this class, actually, because just using parameters at random, it's a guess only, right? So don't do that. So that was the thing. Thank you for
Sir, on more question. Okay, here, please here. So stream pool size should be declared for every process.
Yes.
Or
yes.
it can be declared.
Stream pool size, I mean to say the instance. Let's see. So for example, you have 2 integrated for replicate and extract.
Okay.
So total you have 4 process, right?
Okay.
So minimum 4 GB plus that 25% of 4. Okay. 4 the 25%. I think you have 4, right? 4 GB.
No, 2 on source and 2 on target, right? It should be.
Sorry. Okay. So actually, in my case, we also have extract. I mean, like we have a case where the database acts as a source for some application and also acts as a target for some. But yes, if you have extracts at source to extract at target, so yes, minimum 2 GB plus 25% in the stream pool size of the instance you have to set of both in the source and target. So this formula is, is actually there in the Oracle doc only. So you can just refer that also.
Will you be sharing this presentation?
Yeah, I think yes, sir.
I have AMM configuration here, automatic memory management. So I have 12 process, a replicate process. So I have set stream pool size 15 GB. Is it okay?
In automatic memory, I think you set only, one parameter, right?
Yeah, one parameter.
Memory.
I didn't set for particular process.
No. It is, see, when I say stream pool size, this. So for example, 4 KB for each instance of that database. I'm saying it is not
Okay, got
process
it.
related. It's on the instance. I'm saying.
Yeah, because just because of stream pool.
I'm sorry, your voice is gone. Hello.
Of increasing.
No, your voice was gone. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, what did you say? Sorry, your voice was gone. Repeat, please.
Hello.
Yeah. Now, yeah. Speak now, please.
Is it okay now?
Yes.
Okay, so after increasing the stream pool size, all the processes were running fine.
Correct. Yeah. So that's the thing. Now,
So
because
first of all, it was we didn't know the value of this stream pool size, so we said the actually we said the blind value. We can say that 512 MB. So it was not enough. So we've gone through Oracle documentation, and we can see that calculation, and we set it 15 GB. Then all the processes were working fine.
Yeah. Correct. Because this thing is there in the
How to
Oracle
identify whether it is enough stream pool size, good enough, or is there something it will report?
The minimum is this. This is the minimum that we have to check with the Oracle only, because even in the Oracle doc, this is the formula. So there is no actually straight away thing, you cannot guess right from the start. So that is the thing actually. We have to, play around and play smartly. Because and one more thing, just if you have a lag, we should not panic. Simple. I mean, I have this dialogue, like to the application team, guys. It is production, so it means it is loaded. So it should have a lag, right? Like that's the way we joke with them actually, because here, as when you work in TG, what I have seen, if you cannot handle the application team well, they will toss you around. You got to, it's an act of playing for the mail based on the proofs we have. So that is what I mean. I'm not sure, like, has any one of you faced issue with the extract recovery time being very old? Recovery point. Have you guys fired this statement? Send extract name show trans tabular.
Not
Anyone?
yet.
Okay, so thing is, in this document, right? Because we used to face this issue a lot of times. Udemy, it is like uploaded during the lockdown phase in May last year. Since I had time, so I just uploaded. Simple. Any other doubts?
Sir, may we have the PowerPoint presentation?
Yes. That the scholar, the scholar team will give. I think Ramesh has pasted a feedback link, right? So he will mail, I think, in that. So he will update you. So I mean, I work with an awesome team, that is Ramesh, Ajay, Vinod, and thanks to them, like it's very easy for me to teach also. So I would thank them for their efforts. And also, yes, I'll just, whenever I have time, I'll keep on updating the Udemy. Simple. Because, it gives me the time to upload some sessions, because every day I cannot teach, right? Because we all have the activities of our office. So this helps me to buy some time and to uploaded. Any other doubts you have irrespective of this?
No, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much for your valuable session. And actually, thank you from Bangladesh.
Oh, wow.
Thank you so much.
Others?
Yeah, thank you. Really, it's very helpful, Srikanth.
Thank you. So basically, the aim was how to think. Okay. So that was the thing, because I've seen, even I used to play blindly, but now I learned from my leads and also how to play. So I'm grateful for them also.
Yeah, if possible, maybe you can cover that GGHC, GoldenGate Health Check report, how to review and understand.
Actually, to
Even
be
I'm
frank,
struggling to understand.
we actually used only in one case where the extract was failing for the missing archives, and even after we restored the archives, it was still failing. So in the health check, we exactly identified what was the sequence. Actually, health check is very big, and Oracle, they use it well. So I mean, like, I'll say the flow. When you have any issue,
At
right?
least some idea. Yeah, I
Oracle
mean, if
follows,
you by
yeah,
using
I'll
health check,
explain. I'll explain. The thing is, health check,
and also,
yeah.
One package actually I noticed from Oracle Docs. There is a package ETL underscore SPA streaming pool advisory kind of thing.
I know. Stream
So
pool.
did you use?
I'm not,
Yeah, is that really helpful or do you know?
I'm not, because from these steps only I am understanding the issues and all. I have seen that in the Oracle docs, but I have not used it. So that's why I did not explain that.
Okay.
Because even when we tried to ask the Oracle folks, they were not able to tell. I mean, in Oracle team, only the ACS team, right? I hope you are aware. ACS, Oracle support, those guys are just awesome. They just,
It's a third party, right? ACS, I believe, is a third party.
No. It's, I mean, it's for the privileged one. I mean, what they cost you high.
Okay. Yes.
So they have the awesome folks. I mean, that is my experience. I mean, we learned a lot from them also, when we faced issues and but the normal team for GG, it was sad. To be frank.
Regular GG.
Yeah.
ACS is like priority support, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Srikanth.
Yes.
Sometimes we face issue with extract. Extract get become restart, and it reading archive logs of 4 or 5 days old.
Okay, that is here only. That is what I was speaking now only 5 minutes back. That happens if the recovery checkpoint is old. Steps to identify what is causing the older recovery checkpoint of extract. So thing is, the very fact the extract is going 4 or 5 days behind. Even in my case, it has one. I think it went 3 weeks back also. So the cause of it is that actually I am trying to cover this in the next part. So I just say in a short actually. The cause is there are some. I think middleware sessions, right? So they don't clean if the application team don't clean them properly, so they have some orphan sessions in the database. So due to that, the extract thinks, okay, this is a live one, and if it gets committed afterwards, right? So just for that sake, it will have a read pointer over there. So that is what we called as if you do info extract show ch, right? It will show you recovery checkpoint. Here it is. recovery checkpoint means point of the oldest unprocessed transaction. So if that session is cleaned up, the recovery checkpoint will go more closer. But yes, if you have the authority to kill those sessions, go ahead. We don't have it, so we inform to the application team, because it's always risky. If by chance we create something which is important, then we will make an outage. And if something that happens, everyone will pound on us. There's always a cross with the application and DBAs, right? So we got to have our state safe. Okay, so here what I'll do, I just find all the sessions which are causing that, and I gave it to the application team. Guys, handle it. Simple. With this query. Okay. So any doubt related to the replicate, please ask, because extract is for the part 2, not now. It's already late. I think we did 4 hours approximate. Any other?
When is the next session?
Sorry?
When is the next session?
That I'll plan actually. I need to have some free time, and I will make these slides, because this took a lot of time. Even I had the activity of my office today, so it was really in short time actually. So I will need some time, and we will. So the smaller team will update you.
Okay, Srikanth, thank you. This is Bala from East Africa. So it has been long time I was using GoldenGate, so now it's a good recall, and like I could able to remind all the things what we have done, and like it is really useful. Thanks for the session.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, guys, I think Ramesh, we are fine, Ramesh.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for all for joining this session.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Srikanth.
Thank you.